When it comes to Drake, this week in hip-hop has already turned into one of the wildest stretches we've seen in years. Lawsuits are collapsing in real time, Tupac's name is somehow getting dragged into court again. People are reportedly being paid to artificially push hype for an album nobody actually seems excited for. And somehow the Iceman rollout keeps getting louder while the real excitement keeps disappearing. And now we finally understand why. What just got exposed behind the scenes is honestly worse than most people expected. Before we get into it, leave a like, subscribe, and support the channel. Because the deeper this Iceman mess gets, the more aggressive Drake's remaining fan base becomes whenever people point out what's really happening, and apparently telling the truth now makes people angry. But today, 3 different revelations are about to come out that could seriously damage Drake's image in a way we haven't seen before.
And all 3 situations, the lawsuit itself, the attempts to cover up the lawsuit, and the efforts to save the album rollout, all connect back to one central theme. Everything feels manufactured. Nearly everything surrounding Drake right now feels artificial. People are literally being paid to push positive talking points about Iceman online. The budgets being thrown around are apparently bigger than ever because the desperation level has reached that point. And honestly, that's only the beginning of how embarrassing the situation has become. At this stage, it almost feels like other people are writing Drake's entire narrative for him behind the scenes. Everything about the rollout feels staged. Everything feels fake. And if you think that sounds exaggerated, just wait until we get deeper into what was uncovered inside the OVO community. Because what recently leaked is so perfectly on brand for this era of Drake that it almost feels unbelievable.
Throughout this entire week, people like academics, OVO Mall, and every major Iceman cheerleader have been pushing harder than ever trying to convince the internet something massive is coming. Whether it's Mall hyping up Drake's bars or academics posting mysterious messages before going back to his delivery apps, all of them are trying to create the feeling that some major cultural moment is approaching. But honestly, who actually cares anymore? And more importantly, who's even financing this Iceman rollout now? Because that answer might be the saddest part of all. We're about to get into how badly the lawsuit situation has deteriorated and why Drake may have permanently damaged his relationship with UMG. But first, something I've been predicting for a while now appears to be completely true. UMG is furious. After spending more than 15 years inflating Drake into the giant he became, he eventually turned around and went to war with them publicly. And now, they seem completely done with him.
The clearest sign that UMG has effectively stepped away from Drake, leaving him to handle Iceman largely on his own after resources were reportedly drained by the lawsuit, comes from a leaked marketing brief connected to the rollout. The document allegedly outlines exactly who's being paid to push positive Iceman content across social media. And honestly, once you see who's actually helping bankroll this rollout now that UMG has seemingly pulled back, the entire thing becomes unbelievably embarrassing. Because according to the leak, the major names tied to funding and amplifying this rollout are Kick and Stake. That's apparently who's backing the Iceman era right now. Academics, Aiden Ross, gambling sponsorships, endless Drake streams. All of it somehow circles back to this same ecosystem. Pages connected to the rollout are reportedly admitting they participated in organized promotion campaigns while pretending it's completely normal. And naturally, the information supposedly came out of a private OVO Discord server, because of course it did.
What makes this even worse is that academics' own content is apparently being used almost like a blueprint for how people should promote Iceman online. People are literally receiving money to create positive narratives around the album and flood social media with hype. The campaign itself reportedly expired back on April 15th, but the existence of it alone says everything. If you've noticed the Iceman conversation getting louder while the genuine excitement keeps shrinking, that's not an accident. That's manufactured promotion. And honestly, the fact this operation even needs to exist already says everything about Drake's current position. If he's supposedly still the biggest rapper alive, why does he need an inorganic campaign filled with paid promotion just to manufacture hype in 2026? Either Drake's camp knows his actual pull with audiences is disappearing, or they genuinely believe the entire industry is working against him, and this is some kind of counterattack. Either way, it looks pathetic. This is some of the most shameless behavior we've seen in mainstream hip-hop.
Hip-hop used to value authenticity. The biggest artists used to let the music speak for itself. Kendrick Lamar dropped GNX with basically no forced marketing push and still delivered one of the biggest rap albums of the last 15 years commercially. But because Drake isn't operating from that same place creatively anymore, this is what the Rollout has become instead. Paid promotion, gambling company partnerships, academics dancing around online trying to force excitement into existence. And honestly, for somebody who still calls himself the king of rap, this level of manipulation is incredibly embarrassing. Drake pushing this hard, building organized campaigns, publicly going against UMG, relying on these kinds of backers, has made Iceman feel less like an album rollout and more like some giant psychological operation designed to convince people Drake is still untouchable. At this point, it barely even feels like a music rollout anymore. It feels like an illusion, a fake cultural moment built entirely on manufactured hype and forced narratives. The more academics talks and the more Drake posts cryptic ice pictures without actual music attached to them, the more obvious it becomes that Iceman may not even exist as a fully realized creative project yet.
And now we need to talk about the lawsuit, because Drake somehow managed to hit an entirely new low in his latest legal filing. Hidden inside the usual victim narrative and endless complaining was one of the most disrespectful moves Drake has made throughout this entire situation. And somehow, it involves Tupac Shakur's estate, which honestly feels especially ironic considering it's now been about 2 years since the tailor-made freestyle situation happened. Here's what Drake is reportedly arguing now. Because Tupac's estate forced him to remove tailor-made freestyle before Not Like Us officially dropped, Drake is now claiming audiences never got a fair chance to hear his side of the beef properly. And because of that, he's trying to argue Kendrick's record should somehow carry defamation liability due to the missing context. Drake is literally attempting to use Tupac's estate removing the song as part of his legal argument now.
There's also apparently a growing narrative within Drake's fanbase claiming Kendrick secretly pressured Tupac's estate into sending the cease and desist in the first place. The estate itself already denied that ever happened, but Drake supporters continue repeating it anyway, because at this point they'll believe almost anything. And now Drake is effectively sitting in court trying to shift blame toward Tupac's estate for the collapse of his public image, after he already used Tupac's likeness without permission to begin with. Every time it feels like Drake has officially hit rock bottom, somehow another level appears underneath it. Using a deceased hip-hop icon who cannot defend himself as part of your legal strategy, especially after already disrespecting his legacy by using his image without consent, is honestly one of the ugliest things we've seen in hip-hop in years. In a culture that has respected Tupac for decades, this isn't just bad optics anymore. It genuinely makes Drake look like somebody who has no real respect for the culture itself.
And honestly, Drake's entire victim narrative has now reached its absolute peak. The propaganda campaigns, the artificial Iceman hype, and now trying to redirect blame toward Tupac's estate. It all follows the exact same formula. Expand the victim story, blame everyone else, avoid accountability, and hope nobody notices there's barely any actual music attached to any of this. But the clock is running out quickly now. This lawsuit is entering its final stages. Unless the courts decide to drag things out further, Drake is rapidly running out of options. And his latest response, filled with the same victim framing, selective quotes, and endless complaining, probably isn't going to save him. The only thing that's really changed is how far Drake now seems willing to go to avoid taking responsibility for anything.
And honestly, there's something almost poetic about the way Tupac's legacy keeps appearing during Drake's downfall. Every single time Drake touches Tupac's name or drags him into controversy, things somehow get worse for Drake afterward. And using Tupac as a legal shield after already exploiting his image without permission honestly feels like something only a person with zero genuine love for hip-hop culture would even attempt. Which, ironically, is exactly what Kendrick accused Drake of on Not Like Us. And every move Drake makes keeps reinforcing that criticism. So Drake, keep playing with Tupac's legacy if you want, because every single time you do, things somehow become worse for you publicly. UMG appears done with you, Kick and Stake are now tied to the Rollout, your album campaign feels like one of the most artificial and manufactured operations we've ever seen from somebody at your supposed level. And meanwhile, the lawsuit itself keeps collapsing in real time. The road toward Iceman has genuinely become one of the most embarrassing eras in mainstream rap history.
And eventually, if the music ever actually drops, Drake is going to have to face all of this directly. The paid campaigns won't protect him anymore. The artificial hype disappears. The propaganda fades away. And eventually, the only thing left standing will be the music itself. So go ahead and release it. Because if Drake is truly as confident as his cam pretends he is, then this shouldn't be a problem. But deep down, everybody already understands why the delays keep happening. The more I watch Drake's team operate during this rollout, the more familiar it all starts to feel. This is the exact same mentality they had back in 2024 while preparing for the Kendrick battle. Overconfidence, arrogance, acting like victory is guaranteed while showing very little evidence that the actual work has been done. And we all remember exactly how that situation ended.
So now the question becomes, is history about to repeat itself again? Because if Drake enters this rollout the way it currently looks, underprepared, overly confident, and unable to back up the image being sold, this could turn into another 2024 situation very quickly. And honestly, judging by the way people around him keep talking, that feels exactly where this is heading. Good luck. Because if this goes even slightly the way the Kendrick beef did, the next few years are going to be brutal for Drake and everybody attached to him. So let me know, what's more embarrassing here? Trying to drag Tupac's estate into your legal mess, or allegedly paying people to manufacture fake hype around your album while still calling yourself the biggest rapper alive? Either way, Drake, time is running out. Eventually, the excuses stop working, and the music has to speak for itself. Check out the suggested video to see what happened right before all of this somehow became even worse.